Hi, my name is Erin Tomsich, and I will be discussing the impact of biometrics. Biometrics are measurements and calculations of the body's unique characteristics and is used for security and identification purposes. I created my website on biometrics using Google Sites. You can set up Google Sites with any Gmail account and create it by going to the Google Sites home screen and starting a new site. With Google Sites, it is easy to set up a new website and personalize it for your own needs. Some differences between Google Sites and the more traditional website creators like HTML and CSS is that Google Sites allows you to edit directly on your site and allows you to access it through any computer and share it with your classmates. Google Sites is stored on Google Drive, and you can edit it by adding new pictures, text, and different pages. For my website, I created new pages as seen at the top. I also added in my title, and for Google Sites, you can embed HTML codes on your site. I created my banner and my logo using the site Pixlr. When you open up Pixlr Editor, you are brought to this site. There are many different tools on Pixlr that you can use to edit images that you created or imported. For my logo, I use the Type tool and the Brush tool. You can also use the Layer feature to layer your text over images like I did for my logo. On this page, I will be talking about the purpose of biometrics and indicate the name of the innovation, provide a clear description of its intended purpose, such as the problem that the innovation solved, the opportunity that the innovation created, and the discovery that the innovation made possible. Like I stated earlier, biometrics are the measurements and calculations of the body's unique characteristics. This technology is used for security or to identify individuals through surveillance. According to the Norton website, because biometrics are used to determine a person's identity, it is important that they are unique, permanent, and collectible. Now that biometrics has become more common, you can set up elements like fingerprint readers on in-home devices. Here I have listed how to set up an in-home fingerprint reader, and this chart describes it, showing each step that is used to install it. This page will talk about the effects and impacts of biometrics. Biometrics has both beneficial and harmful effects. Some of the benefits include that it improves security through facial, retinal, and fingerprint scans. It is more efficient and convenient, and you do not need to remember anything like a password. It also helps prevent illegal entry into the United States. Some of the disadvantages that come with biometrics are that people like their privacy and don't like being scanned. It is also not 100% accurate, and once it is activated, it cannot be reset. This graph demonstrates how biometrics is becoming a more common verification method. As you can see, almost 69% of people aged 18 to 24 said that they use biometrics as an identification process when purchasing goods and online services. Biometrics has had an impact on the society and economy. The effect that biometrics has had on society has been both positive and negative. Due to the fact that biometrics are so efficient, it allows people to cut lines, leaving society happier as a whole. Biometrics has also benefited the disabled and elderly people, making it easier for them to positively authenticate their identity. However, some of the negative aspects that come along with biometrics is that it is still creating a growing fear that the government is watching people. The economic impact from biometrics has been increasing and will continue to do so. As you can see in the graph, the revenue from the biometric industry has a positive linear slope and has grown substantially since 2009, where the revenue was $2,584. Now in 2017, the revenue reaches approximately $11 billion. Here I created a survey to gain perspective on what information viewers know about biometrics and what they feel the impact is. I created my survey using Google Forms, and generated questions for people to answer. Here you can see my responses and the data that goes with them. For my video, I recorded it using my iPhone and uploaded it to my computer. Then I edited it in iMovie and shared it through YouTube. In this video, I interviewed my friend Jess about how she believes biometrics has impacted society. I also show clips of my friends using biometrics on their phones with the Touch ID pad and face recognition features. Jess, what are your beliefs of the impacts of biometrics?
I believe that biometrics are very important in this day and age. It's a unique identification process that is used to help increase security and identify individuals under surveillance. Biometrics are commonly used to secure vaults in banks and can secure something as simple as iPhones with the use of face recognition and fingerprint identification.
One field other than computer science that biometrics has impacted is healthcare. Having biometrics in the healthcare field allows them to limit access to secure areas and allows them to correctly identify patients. Since now most health records are stored electronically, biometrics allows people to secure access to them. You can also combine multiple fields like biology to create a multifaceted computing system that assists with therapy and diagnosis. The graph that I have created in Google Sheets shows how much of an impact biometrics has on someone's life versus how they ranked it numerically. The x-axis shows the response for the question, how much of an impact has biometrics had on your life? The y-axis shows their answers for the numerical questions shown here. I created my graph by converting my answers and responses from my Google forum to a Google Sheet. Then I filtered out the information using a pivot table to see what information seemed to correlate. Then I created a graph using insert chart and created this bar graph. Next, we will move on to my technical aspects page of my website. Users typically interact with biometrics through physical scanners. While there are many different types of scanners in the biometrics realm, fingerprint scanners seem to be the most common. They are equipped with different types of sensors that help detect and record patterns. The most common sensor is the optical sensors. When the user places their finger on the scanner, the optical sensors capture an image of the fingerprint with a specialized digital camera. The images are then either stored in a database or they are compared to pre-existing images to grant access. In this image, you can see a fingerprint being scanned. One of the big ideas that biometrics uses is algorithms. Biometrics uses algorithms that detect people's physical features and records them. In fingerprint scanners, there are two main types of algorithms used. The minute extraction algorithm that is used for fingerprint detection, and the minute matching algorithm that matches the input fingerprint with a pre-existing one in a database to confirm identification. Next, we have my relationship to data page. Biometrics both consumes data as an input and produces data as an output. Biometrics is a consumer of data and uses this data to confirm authentication and authorization. It records and scans biological information about people such as their fingerprints, hand length, etc., and also records behavioral characteristics. Once the data is recorded, it is then stored so that it can be referred back to when the user uses the device. Out of data storage concerns, data privacy concerns, and data security concerns, biometrics is mostly related to the data privacy concerns and data security concerns. Since biometric technology is becoming a common security feature, it has a high risk of being hacked, and when it is, the effects can be detrimental. After the scanning process is complete, maps of people's features can be stored on the device or can be sent to a central storage database. like the one shown here. When the data travels, it is vulnerable, and it can also be at high risk when it is being entered into the system. The last page on my Google site is my references page. Here you can see one of the important articles that I read to gather data from. Please visit my website for any more details. Thank you.